the next guest from Malta, minister and member of parliament for a very long time, 24 years, Mr. Mario Galea.
Salam alaikum, Madam Rajavi, dear colleagues, distinguished guests. Last year we hoped that this year's summit will be in a free Iran. But let us make no mistake, it will be in Tehran. And the mullahs know very well that their end is fast approaching. They can hang to power for some time, but not for all of the time. They can still hide, but they have nowhere to run. As the famous Mahatma Gandhi said, and I quote, "All throughout history, there have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time they seemed invincible, but in the end, they always fall. Always." But there is another outstanding aspect in this delay. The Iranian, and this was referred to by Her Excellency Madame Rajavi in her opening speech, the Iranian regime barbaric response to the uprisings did not deter the Iranian people from keeping up their descent. On the contrary, rather than driving them into submission, it has enraged them even more. So I commend the Iranian people for their bravery and courage. The maintained protests in Iran has now fatally wounded the Iranian regime. A free, democratic Iran is no longer an if, but it is a matter of when. As we all know, the uprisings were met with imprisonment, abductions, torture, and a shocking number of executions. And only God knows what else. I believe that we still do not know the extent of crimes against humanity which are being perpetrated, probably even now as we speak, in Iran by these evil regimes. Yes, bones were broken, innocent lives were destroyed and taken in Iran, untold pain inflicted, but the determination of the Iranian people for freedom was neither broken nor taken. The atrocities by the regime, which were aimed to break the Iranian people, ended up breaking the regime itself. As the famous writer Tobias Wolff put it, and I really like this quote because this explains exactly what is happening in Iran. And I quote, "Fearless in those without power is terrifying to those who have power." Fearless in those without power, so fearless in the Iranian protesters, which have no power whatsoever, is terrifying the mullahs who have all the power. This is exactly what is happening in Iran. The Iranian regime is now cornered and terrified. The mullahs know that they are on borrowed time. They know that the long arm of justice will finally reach them. And they will have to face justice for crimes against humanity. Because let us make it very clear, freeing Iran and having a democratic Iran is the first step. But the next step is for those people who committed crimes against humanity is to face justice and go and rot in prison. We are here today not only to repeat and reiterate our support to the heroes of Iran, but also, probably this is more important, to convey a strong message, yet once again, to the Western world, to our governments, to the United States of America, the European Union, and international community. I borrowed the message of Martin Luther King and say, the Iranian people will not remember the harsh words of their enemies. What they will remember is the cruel silence of their friends. For silence means consent, remaining neutral, is siding with the aggressor. If you remain neutral when you are faced with the situation in Iran, you are not staying in the middle, you are just siding with the Iranian regime. Appeasement of the Iranian regime is treason. Appeasement of the Iranian regime is betrayal. It is betrayal of your own country, betrayal of the Middle East, and betrayal of mankind in the wider sense. Because this regime remains one of the major threats to peace and stability in the entire world, including the Middle East. We have heard about this evening about the involvement of Iran, of the Iranian regime, in Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, and now also in Russia. I was speaking to Alona before the session started, the MP from Ukraine, and we heard from her as well. And one thing which strikes me is this. Some of the same countries, this is really mind-boggling. Some of the same countries who are now helping Ukraine to defend itself from Putin's aggression were the same countries which were busy appeasing Iran. And this is the way that Iran told them thank you. They are sending drones to bomb the Ukrainian people. This is the Iranian way of saying thank you for the appeasement. And now these same countries, they have to send weapons, and I totally agree with it, in order to help Ukraine defend itself against the Iranian drones. History has taught us, my friends, over and over again, that appeasement does not work. But indeed, history is a very good teacher, but unfortunately, politicians are very lousy students. History is a very good teacher, but unfortunately, politicians are very bad students. I have to spare a last concluding words to commend the outstanding courage of the Iranian woman. The mullahs went to great lengths in order to subdue the Iranian woman. For years, the Iranian regime has treated women as a disposable commodity, a possession which they thought can be controlled, coerced, and subdued. Yet even in this regard, the regime failed miserably. Iranian women are fearlessly fighting back, leading the protest against Iran and blatantly defying the regime. The Iranian woman, which the regime wanted so badly to control, has now become the most compelling threat to the regime's own existence. And this should come no surprise to us. The Iranian women in Iran have a great role model. They have a clear example of a great leader who chose to stand up to be counted, who put her country first before her own life and before her own safety. Madam Rajavi, you chose to be a leader, and what a great leader you are. Your Excellency, you are an inspiration to the Iranian woman. You stood up to lead. The Iranian woman stood up to follow you. The future belongs to you and to the people of Iran. You are the face of a free Iran. You managed to give a face of a free Iran. This is what a free Iran look like. Look at Madam Rajavi and you get the picture of what a free Iran will look like. Madam Rajavi, thank you for leading the way. Thank you for giving hope and a future to the Iranian people. May God bless you. May God bless the people of Iran. May God bless a free, democratic Iran. Thank you very much.